Hello everybody and welcome, my name is GaaraOfBentonYGO, and today here on this exciting Yu-Gi-Oh video, we're going to be going over my first place and fourth place Gren Maju deck profile that I took to my locals. Last week I got first place going XO, and then this week I got fourth place going X1, only losing to Invoke Shaddoll in game 3 with... well, he had 200 life points left. Shout out to Invoked 101 beating me with that Invoke Shaddoll list. And yeah, let's get into the deck profile. This is the best OTK deck, I think, of the format. Starting off, we have 3 Gren Maju Daezas, and this is probably one of the better OTK cards of the format because you don't really care about negates. Your opponent can build their Dragon Link board, and you can just go ahead and summon a big Gren Maju and attack over them. And then we have ourselves our mini Gren Maju Eater of Millions. This card is absolutely insane. Your opponent activates Desires, gains attack, and just helps you get over problematic monsters really easily. It only gains 100 attack for each face-down banished card, so it's not as big as Gren Maju. But when you have your 3 Gizmek Orochis, this really helps out the deck a lot. There are times where I normal summoned Gren Maju, attacked, and they just let me attack, and I'm like, attack declaration, Gizmek, summon, and just go ahead and attack over their monster. Really good. And that's it for really our banish engine. Then we move on to our draw engine. We played 3 Danger Mothman, 2 Thunderbird, and 2 Bigfoots. I didn't have trade-ins, so if I had trade-in, I'd probably play 3 and 3 because this is blind go second, and these being able to discard themselves to pop cards is really good. And then we have 1 Nessie, 1 Jackalope, and 1 Tsuchinoko to round out our dangers for our draw engine. And then the last couple monsters we played one Pankratops, and this didn't come up. I didn't draw it at all, so it didn't really matter in these 2 tournaments. And then I played 3 Nibiru. Lots of Phantom Knights Salad at my locals. These could be replaced for Ash Blossoms if you have more control heavy, or they can be replaced for any sort of hand trap. D-Shifter would probably be a good hand trap. I don't know why I didn't think of playing that. I'm playing Gren Maju, so I probably should play D-Shifter. I don't know, but really good. And then moving on to our spell cards, the last big banish cards and more draw powers. 3 Pot of Desires. The banish 10 is the important part. The draw 2 helps you draw into Gren Maju. Really good. And I wouldn't play Extrav or Pot of Prosperity in this deck just because you kind of need your extra deck for Eater of Millions and Gizmek, and you also have utility cards in your extra deck that we'll go over. Then for our blind going second cards, we played 3 Lightning Storm for monsters and back row hate. Then we played 3 Hatrunade for more back row hate. 3 Cosmic Cyclone for more back row hate. As you guys can tell, Phantom Knights, there's a lot of Unchained at my locals and a lot of back row decks. So Cosmic Hatrunades in the main deck, very important, and the Harpy's Feather Duster. Then moving on to the trap cards. In case I was forced to go first, I wanted some trap cards, so I played 3 Strike, and then obviously the 1 Red Reboot for the control decks. And that's it for my 40 card main deck. Moving on to the extra deck, I played 1 Hida because there's a lot of Salad players at my locals, and then I played 2 Phoenix for more back row hate, 2 Cerberus for getting out in the Nibiru tokens, then 1 Unicorn, 1 Access Code, 1 Zeraboros. I would have 2-0'd all of my opponents the week that I got first place, but I forgot that I had Zeraboros in my extra deck, so I attacked with the monsters I had instead of linking into Zeraboros to attack for game. Whoops, my bad. And then there's a Raid Raptor player at my locals, and how do you get over Ultimate Falcon when you don't have a Gren Maju? You Underworld Goddess it. So link that away. Then for our XEs, I played one Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord for a monster negate, one Sky Prison, and then I was dumb and didn't put Ningrisu in here, even though when I play it on Dueling Book, I tested it. So this Utopia is supposed to be Ningrisu. I didn't know what I was going to. Some of these last few cards would be Super Poly targets if I played at a locals that Super Poly would be really, really good at. And because a lot of people in my locals don't have like Dragoon and stuff. So these last three cards would be Super Poly targets. So I have Mega Fleet, Intis, and then just a random Stardust Dragon because I wanted to make my extra deck look shinier. But yeah, I should probably put in Super Poly. They would replace probably if I wasn't playing in such a back row heavy locals, I would probably replace the Hatronades with the Super Polys. Just depends on your local metagame. Or I'd replace the Nibiru's with Super Poly. But moving on to my side deck, I played 3 Inspector Border, 3 Summon Limit, 3 Solemn Judgment, and 3 Ice Dragon's Prisons, and 3 Torrential Tribute. And the reason why I did this is because this deck cannot go first. There's no cards in it that are good going first, other than potentially like the dangers setting up Zeraboros with Gizmek Engrave. That's kind of the best going first board that this deck can do, and that's not even consistently going first. So game 1, I generally will go second, because if I win the die roll, I'm going second. If I lose the die roll, my opponent's pretty much going to make me go second in this format. So my idea is I OTK them game 1, and then game 2 they're going to make me go first because they're like, oh, we're playing an OTK deck. We'll side in 15 cards for going first, and even if I have to go second, these cards aren't terrible going second. Summon Limit's pretty bad going second, and so is Judgment, but Inspector Border, IDP, and Torrential are pretty decent going first or second. So I can at least just set up my trap cards, and then we'll go, and worst case, I lose game 2, and game 3 I OTK, or I win game 2 because they made me go first. I set up 5 cards and Spectre Border and just stun them until I get Gren Maju. So that's kind of the idea. There have been decks that were stun Gren Maju or trap Gren Maju, which is how I got this idea. So they would go first, they'd set up their board, and then they'd OTK their opponent through a simplified game state. But yeah, it worked out really, really well, caught a lot of my opponents off guard. I don't know how well it's going to continue to work in the future at my locals because they know that I'm going to do it, but it is what it is. So yeah, guys, that is it for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys want to see some replays, I will be doing some replays in a video released sometime this week, and I'll link that here when I get that uploaded. But that's gonna be it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.